Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something critical. We're cutting through the immense complexity of establishing a stable financial life in the U.S. for new immigrants. Whether you've just landed on, say, an H-1B visa or you're starting a green card application, the American financial system can feel like a massive, impenetrable labyrinth.
It's not just a feeling, it is a fundamentally different system. And the mission of this deep dive is crucial because that lack of familiarity, combined with the urgency to get settled quickly, it often leads to really costly decisions in that first year. So we're going to synthesize the critical steps, highlight the common pitfalls, especially around credit and taxes, and turn those early challenges into a clear strategic roadmap. We want you to be informed from day one.
Okay, let's unpack this starting with the absolute foundation. I'm talking about budgeting, cash, and just where you put your money. Our sources really emphasize that the very first mistake people make is just fundamentally misjudging the cost of living here.
That's the core issue. Assumptions from your home country can be completely misleading. I mean, housing costs are often a shock, but people also underestimate the compounding costs of things like mandatory health care, car insurance, transportation.
Right. So before you even arrive, what's a proactive step you can take to kind of anchor your expectations in reality?
Use the data that's out there. We strongly advise using tools like Numbeo and Expetistan to research realistic monthly expenses. Do it before you get here. That data helps ground your initial budget.
And what about the immediate cash you need on hand? It's not just the first month's rent, is it?
Not at all. You have to account for all those setup costs, apartment security deposits, fees to connect your utilities and internet, maybe buying some basic furniture. If you don't account for those, even a good monthly budget can run out of cash really, really fast.
So once you're here, what is the single most important habit to adopt right away?
Start tracking your spending immediately. Use budgeting apps like Y&I or Mint. These aren't just for saving, they are structured monitoring systems. They give you visibility and help prevent those cash shortages that can derail everything.
Let's talk about safety. A lot of newcomers, maybe out of habit, they rely way too much on physical cash.
And that's a huge risk. Relying only on cash gives you zero protection if it's lost or stolen. Plus, it just limits your ability to pay bills or establish proof of address. You can't really function that way here.
And what about having other people, like family who arrived first, handle your money?
That's mistake number 2, and it is a massive one. Letting others manage your finances, even if you trust them completely. You're exposed to their potential mistakes, their tax issues, or even fraud. Financial autonomy, having your own name on your accounts from day one, is absolutely key.
Okay, so the money is now safely in a U.S. bank account. What are the fees that newcomers really need to watch out for?
The fine print. First, look out for maintenance fees. These are monthly charges, maybe $10 or $20. They're often waived if you maintain a minimum balance like $1,500 or set up direct deposit from an employer.
So if you don't keep enough money in the account, the bank charges you just for holding it.
Precisely. Next up are overdraft fees. If you spend more than you have, they can hit you for $30, $35 per incident. It's a huge shock for people from systems where that just isn't possible.
And the dreaded ATM fees.
Oh yeah, the double tap ATM fee. You use an out-of-network machine and you get hit twice. Once by your bank and once by the ATM owner. That can be $4, $5, even $6 a transaction.
How do you navigate that? Because if you choose a smaller bank to save on maintenance fees, you might not have ATMs everywhere.
That's the trade-off. A big national bank gives you access to thousands of fee-free ATMs, which is great. A smaller credit union might have lower fees and better service, but then you have to plan ahead. You withdraw larger sums less often, or you get cash back at the grocery store checkout.
Let's move on to maybe the single most confusing part of U.S. finance: credit. A debit card is easy to get, but it does absolutely nothing for your financial history here.
Zero impact. Debit card activity is just transactional. It is not reported to the credit bureaus. You can spend millions responsibly with a debit card, and your credit score would still be 0. And that leads us right into our next section: decoding the U.S. credit system, which is really the Great Wall of American finance.
Why is this history so crucial? I mean, in a lot of countries, your ID and proof of income are enough.
Because the U.S. system is built on a foundation of quantified trust. And that trust is your credit score. Without it, renting a good apartment, getting a car loan, even getting a cell phone plan becomes incredibly difficult, or at least way more expensive. Lenders and landlords use that score as a proxy for how reliable you are.
So what is the absolute first step to starting that history?
You need an ID and an anchor. First, get a Social Security number, an SSN if you're eligible. If not, you apply immediately for an Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN. The ITI lets you file taxes and open certain accounts. It's a critical financial marker.
And then the bank account.
Yeah. Open your checking and savings accounts. And a little tip. Credit unions are often more accommodating to newcomers. They sometimes have services tailored for people without a long U.S. history.
Okay, now let's talk about the common traps people fall into when they're trying to build that history quickly. What are the 5 biggest mistakes?
The first one is simply delaying the process. The clock on your credit history only starts when that first credit account is opened. You have to start immediately with a secured card or as an authorized user. Waiting 6 months to settle in is 6 months of lost history. Mistake number 2, we just hammered this. Thinking your debit card builds credit. It does not.
What's the third one? I'm guessing it has to do with that urgency you mentioned earlier.
It does. Applying for too many cards at once. It's counterintuitive. Every time you apply, it triggers a hard inquiry on your report. A few of those in a short time signals desperation to lenders, and it actually lowers your score temporarily. Just apply for one every few months at the start.
I want to push on the 4th mistake because I hear this one all the time from well-meaning people. This idea that you should carry a small balance, maybe $50, to show you're actively using the credit.
That is a complete myth, and it is a costly one. Carrying a balance does not help your score. All it does is generate interest charges for the bank. You are paying them for no benefit. The goal is to pay the balance in full every single month.
That's such an important distinction. You're building a positive payment history, not an interest history.
Exactly. And the 5th mistake is ignoring your credit report. You have to check it every year. It's free at annualcreditreport.com. Errors are common, and an unchecked error can block you from getting a loan or an apartment years down the line.
So, practically speaking, what are the best strategies for someone starting today with zero history?
Start with a secured credit card. You give the bank a refundable cash deposit, say $500, and that becomes your credit limit. It's zero risk for them, so you're almost guaranteed to be approved, and it reports to the bureaus. Or you can become an authorized user on a trusted person's card. You basically get to benefit from their good payment history, which can boost your score really fast.
And once you have that card, what's the golden rule for using it?
Keep your credit utilization low. That means using less than 30% of your available limit. If your limit is $1,000, try to keep the balance below $300. But more important than anything else, payment history is king. It's 35% of your FICO score. On-time payments every single time. That is the foundation.
That's a great foundation for stability. Now, let's switch gears to where the complexity just explodes: U.S. taxes, especially for anyone who's self-employed.
The tax maze is formidable, and the stakes are incredibly high. The first thing you have to understand is your tax residency. Are you a resident or a non-resident for tax purposes? U.S. tax residents, which includes green card holders, are taxed on their worldwide income. Non-residents are generally just taxed on income from U.S. sources.
And how is that determined?
It's called the substantial presence test. Basically, if you're physically in the U.S. for 183 days or more in a year, or you meet a more complex formula over 3 years, you're usually considered a tax resident. And that means every penny you earn anywhere in the world has to be reported.
Okay, this is where it gets really tricky, though. The quarterly tax trap for independent contractors. We're talking about interpreters, gig workers, freelance consultants, anyone who gets a Form 1099.
This is a classic newcomer trap. When you're an employee, your company withholds taxes for you. But with a 1099, the company pays you the full amount. Not a cent is withheld. So if you expect to owe $1,000 or more in tax for the year, you are legally required to make estimated quarterly payments yourself.
And those deadlines are unforgiving. April, June, September, and then January of the next year.
Correct. But here's the myth that trips up almost everyone in their first year. They assume they're exempt from penalties because they had no tax liability in the U.S. the year before.
And that's not true for new immigrants.
No, it's a devastating myth for most newcomers. That exemption rule only applies if you are a U.S. citizen or a resident alien for the entire previous year. If you just arrived, you generally can't use it. You have to make those payments, or you'll face underpayment penalties in April.
Wow, that is a high-stakes trap. So how do you mitigate that risk?
You need to pay based on what you actually earn each quarter. You estimate it using the IRS Form 1040-ES. Honestly, for that first year, if you're self-employed, it's highly advisable to hire a CPA who knows cross-border issues.
And finally, for anyone now considered a U.S. tax resident, the reporting doesn't stop at the U.S. border.
Absolutely not. You have to report your worldwide income and your foreign financial accounts. The big one is the FBAR, the Report of Foreign Bank and Financial Accounts. If the total value of all your foreign accounts, checking, savings, whatever exceeded $10,000 at any point during the year, you have to file it.
And the penalties for not filing are severe.
Staggering. Willful noncompliance can result in fines that are bigger than the balance in the account and potentially even criminal charges. It is not just paperwork. It is a serious legal requirement.
Okay, moving beyond the immediate needs. Let's look at the long game, investing, saving, and managing those international ties. We know sending money home remittances is a huge priority.
It is, and it's essential support. But the caution here is that overcommitting too early risks your own financial security here. The sequence matters. Stabilize your U.S. income, cover your living costs, build up a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, and then commit to regular transfers. And when you do, use services like Wise or Remitly to save on fees.
This is where the temporary nature of many work visas creates some really unique problems, especially with retirement accounts.
Yeah, this is often overlooked. If you're on a temporary visa, like an H-1B, you have to think about your future plans. Take a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k. The money grows tax-free in the U.S. But if you later move back home, your home country may not recognize that tax-free status.
Wait, so the main benefit of the Roth just disappears?
Potentially.
Yeah.
If your home country taxes those gains when you withdraw them, you could face double taxation. For people planning a shorter stay, a traditional pre-tax 401k might be less complicated internationally.
What about saving for a child's education with a 529 plan?
529s are very specialized. Their benefits are really limited for universities outside the U.S. Plus, the beneficiary usually needs an SSN or ITIN, which a dependent on a visa might not have. In those cases, a regular taxable brokerage account is often a much more flexible and sensible option.
And even opening one of those accounts can be a challenge. Why do U.S. brokerages make it so hard for foreign nationals?
It boils down to regulatory compliance. The Patriot Act, know your customer rules. Firms have to verify everyone's identity and residency to prevent money laundering. A foreign address or a temporary visa just flags their system, and some will even close your account if you leave the U.S.
So what are the good options if you want to invest but might eventually move?
There are a few custodians that are known to be more globally minded. Schwab and Interactive Brokers are often cited as firms that are more accommodating and will let non-residents maintain accounts, sometimes even with a foreign address.
Okay, let's wrap all of this up into a tactical blueprint. If a newcomer arrives today on, say, an H-1B, what should their first year look like?
A phased approach is best. So, months 1 to 3. Open your bank accounts, get that $1,000 mini emergency fund set up, and most importantly, start building credit aggressively. Get that secured card, months 4 to 6. Grow that emergency fund to at least 3 months of expenses, and contribute to your 401k up to the employer match. That's free money you cannot ignore. And then, months 10 to 12. Review your credit score. The goal is to be over 700 and start saving specifically for future costs like green card application fees or immigration lawyers.
That's a fantastic roadmap. But for people facing more complex issues, where can they turn for help?
You have to leverage the resources out there. For general support, look to nonprofits like the International Rescue Committee or Catholic Charities. For tax help, look for VITA programs, volunteer income tax assistance. They provide free, IRS-certified tax prep for low to moderate income people. They're invaluable for that first complex filing.
And for credit building specifically, are there other tools besides a secured card?
Yes. Look for lending circles. Nonprofits like Mission Asset Fund run them. A group of people all contribute a set amount each month, and one person gets the whole pot. The crucial part is the nonprofit reports those on-time payments to the credit bureaus. So you're building an excellent payment history without taking on any debt.
And for those bigger, long-term questions?
You need professionals. Consult a CPA for taxes, a cross-border financial planner for investing, and an immigration attorney for your long-term visa strategy. Don't rely on advice from social media. Build a real support system.
This deep dive has made it so clear that financial success in the U.S. is not passive. It requires early, deliberate action, especially on those two pillars, credit history and taxes.
Indeed. Success means adapting your habits and not letting assumptions from your home country guide you. The U.S. system places enormous weight on your documented identity, your SSN or ITIN, and your consistent payment history.
So, here's a final thought for you to take with you. The system demands consistency, not speed. What is one concrete step you can take this week? Whether it's applying for that SSN, setting up automatic payments on a new card, or looking up a VITA program to begin deliberately building your financial track record, the marathon starts now.
Start the documentation today.
That's it for this deep dive. Go forth and apply this knowledge, and we'll catch you on the next one.